And welcome back to Hey Eintracht Frankfurt, the Bundesliga podcast covering everything there is to know in the English language about Eintracht Frankfurt, the best club in the Bundesliga, the best club in Germany, the best club in Europe, the best club in the world for that matter. But we're a little bit biased. I'm your host, Brian Sanders. You can follow me on Twitter at KCSGE. You can follow the show, Hey Eintracht Frankfurt at HEFPod. Follow us on Facebook. That is facebook.com/HEFpod. You can also email the podcast. That is heyeintrachtfrankfurt at yahoo.com. I hate doing this podcast alone, and I'm here with friends. One specific friend out to the east of me where I live in Kansas City. That is Nathan in St. Louis. Hello, Nathan.
Hey, Brian. What's happening?
Plenty to talk about in the Eintracht Frankfurt world. Hey, still currently sitting in the European places and kicking ass and taking names in Europe, but more on that to come. And we also have our drawing, as we mentioned. If you like and share the most recent podcast link from our Facebook page, you would then be in a drawing for a do we have for the winners, Nathan?
Ooh, it's a good thing you asked there. So we got Eintracht US, Jackie at Eintracht US gave us a few jerseys and some scarves, or a scarf. And for this particular drawing, we were drawing a medium white jersey with Jonathan de Guzman on the back, along with a white and black striped Eintracht scarf.
There you go. So everybody thanks for getting involved in that, especially since, with the Florida Cup happening in St. Petersburg, Florida, and Orlando, Florida in mid-January, you want to be suited up with the most up-to-date Eintracht gear. Not that you can't get it there, as I'm sure that they will have opportunities for you to buy Eintracht Frankfurt gear, in addition to meet your heroes themselves. I mean, why won't you? But anyways, so we have our own Vanna White for Hey Eintracht Frankfurt here to do the drawing. In case anyone is curious who exactly that is my wife. And so we're going to have we have the hat, we have the names in the hat, and we can hear it ruffling around. Alrighty. And we will pick one. Everything is sealed, correct?
Correct.
Drum roll, please.
Please bear with me. And the winner is Marc Anthony.
Marc Anthony is the winner of the shirt and the scarf. Thank you very much for that. Hey, it's exactly the kind of drawing that boy will need, especially with the fact that, he, as a also quiet New York Red Bulls fan, will see how they do in the Major League Soccer playoffs.
And thank you for my Oscars moment.
Well, kudos to my wife for joining us on Hey Eintracht Frankfurt. I'm pretty sure that the dog is only going to have its moment later on in the podcast. Nathan, we have a lot to get to about Eintracht Frankfurt. Let's get to it in the Bundesliga, as Eintracht Frankfurt played out to a 1-1 draw down in Nürnberg, a place that has, for some people, lovely memories. If only you forget about the sheer nerves that you had beforehand. I'm talking about the relegation playoff second leg that we won 1-0. Do you remember who scored that goal?
I do indeed. Haris Severovic.
Couldn't score in a whorehouse, and yet he scored then.
Yeah, well, he only had a ridiculously nice pass from Gacinovic to set him up there. So you can't screw up that much when you get gold on your feet like that. So
indeed. So all things considered, let's get to the match. So FC Nürnberg is a team that we all talked about as one of the teams expected to be relegated immediately back to the second division, much like what we saw against Dusseldorf. But the thing was,
putting up a fight.
Yeah, putting up a fight. Look, all the points that they basically have earned so far this season, and as we say it right now, they're not in the relegation scrap at all. Well, I mean, they are, but they're not in the 3 bottom relegation places. They got a couple points difference to keep themselves out of it, but at the end of the day, I mean, no one has forgotten how they got thumped by Dortmund 7-0. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's going to smart for many, many more weeks to come, if not for the entire year. But the thing is, look, this club has been able to get players purchased for a couple million euros here, a couple million euros there, that have gone into the Bundesliga. Eintracht being one of the clubs who's actually done some of the buying. And, you know, they have returned. They have been able to find good, decent, you know, players that were able to get themselves into, let's see, they finished in third place when they faced off against us. They finished in 12th and then back to second place. And they really only missed out on promotion in the 15-16 Zweite Bundesliga season. In case anyone forgot who went up that season, that was Freiburg, who hasn't fallen back to the second division. And some other team we all hate, Leipzig. I mean, just saying, talk about like some good company to be a part of. So let's be honest, FC Nürnberg, they knew what they needed to do to get done. I mean, to get really, to put Eintracht to bed. And look, they scored from a set piece. They just were looking like a team that thought, you know, you guys have better talent than us. We're going to force you to break us down. And if you can, you know what? Good on you. If not, guess what? We get the points. And at the end of the day, I'm going to have to say that us coming away with points in the manner that we did, granted, a goal from Sebastian Aller, which has prompted some absurd rumors, which we can talk about in a little bit. But I mean, look, Alea bailed us out absurdly late in the game. We had some guys who just didn't have the best of days. You know, Nuremberg went out to defend. Yeah, no kidding. Nuremberg went out to defend. I mean, some people even label, you know, the man of the match technically as a player who didn't even score one of the two goals. And for me, I think it says a lot to the fact that, you know, if you want to look to, say, whoscored.com, they're a really good source to kind of get an idea of how, like, the game went about. You know, the two of the most highly rated players from those guys were on Nuremberg. They were on the defense. They did not assist in the goal that occurred for Nuremberg. I mean, this is a team that we knew would be a little trickier than Dusseldorf. I still think that Dusseldorf will still take points off of people who are not really prepared because, you know, they'll just take them for granted. But Nuremberg is a team that is going to take points off of people this season, and they took some points off of us. Let's be honest. We were expecting to get a win out of this one. Everyone predicted that on this podcast. And had we won, we would be on 16 points. And granted, we would have only moved above Hertha in terms of goal difference because it would be level on points. Let's see. No, actually, we would have been moved to 5th because of the next tie-breaking rule is goals scored. And we have more goals scored than current 5th place team, Leipzig. You know, we would be in a great position to move further and further up the table. Well, you know, with the likes of Stuttgart coming up. Sorry, Stuttgart fans, if you're listening to this, it is what it is. This is a missed opportunity for Eintracht, but I think at the end of the day, you're picking up points in tough scenarios where you need it, and Nuremberg is going to be toughest on the road. They just can't at home. They can't get points on the road, and I look at it from this standpoint that, considering the circumstances, this point kind of have to take it because we didn't play the best. Yeah,
it's good. You know, there's some silver linings from my perspective, but you got to hand it to Nuremberg. They clearly have, you know, especially over Dusseldorf and those other teams in the lower half of the table, a little more in you know, their back pocket in terms of tactics than what we would have let on. they played some clever football to continue to attack but remain defensively stout. And they played well. So like it's good for us to see a team like this come along at this time, so that we can kind of get back to basics and develop a counter to that type of attack, because we're going to see it again. If it worked against us once and we're playing pretty hot, chances are we're going to see it again, perhaps this weekend, something similar from Stuttgart. So there's some silver linings, and of course there's still a couple people who played pretty well. I would say in Dika played pretty fantastic. So I cannot stand watching a football game at that stadium with all the empty seats, but so I'm glad we walked away with a point. We certainly didn't deserve it with the way we played. So we got a point. Let's move forward.
Indeed. As we kind of look to the Bundesliga table, Eintracht still sitting at 7th place. So long as the Pokal plays out as we think it is, Eintracht will be in the European places come next season. Here's hoping, though, that we don't have to go, here's hoping that we just win the Europa League and we can just go to the Champions League instead.
Hey, we're still in it and top of our group.
Yeah, not gonna lie, that feels amazing. It's some pretty lofty heights that we're in right now. Granted, we were also in the same kind of situation last time we were in the Europa League, as we won our group. But let's be honest, the group that we had at the time was a lot weaker then than it is this go around. When you have two teams who play in two of the top 5 leagues in Europe, in Marseille, a team who should be competing in and around the for European places within France. In the case anyone's curious of where Marseille currently is in the table right now, they're in 5th. Granted, everybody's chasing PSG because they're PSG, who have won their first 11 matches.
No.
We're not kidding ourselves in that. And Lazio, who Eintracht will play the return leg in Italy, will kind of hint a tiny bit to that. And just a little bit. That Lazio team is currently tied for 4th in the table for the Serie A. And a kind of interesting spot for them as well, because they're right in and amongst the fight for the Champions League, and a team that's able to balance that while also playing in the Europa League. So I'm just saying this was a tough hand that we were dealt, and right now 3 matches in, 3 wins. That's all I got to say about that. So all that aside, let's talk a little bit about some of the news and notes and everything else that's going on. But first, we're going to break up segment 1 from 2 with our favorite segment breaker, that is hashtag What Are We Drinking? You can always respond to at HEFpod with hashtag What Are We Drinking, and send us your pics of you having whatever beer you are drinking whilst listening to the podcast. Or hey, if you're watching the Eintracht on Friday TV, send us a picture of what you're drinking while watching the Eintracht. So Nathan, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a standard over here, Boston Lager. By Sam Adams, one of my go-tos. If I have a 12-pack in the fridge, it's usually that one. So,
I haven't tried. Just out of curiosity, you haven't seen their kind of Christmassy themed one just yet. Okay.
Not yet.
Some of those have been pretty good in the past. I'm pretty sure that might be making an appearance with me on the next HEF pod coming down the road. So that being said, as for me, in my Eintracht Frankfurt Cup, that came to me from the actual stadium itself. So I have a St. Louis company. I have Schlafly. It's the very last of the Oktoberfest Schlafly that I could possibly find. It's a very good Marzen. I don't know. The state of Missouri is really, truly blessed with a couple of really good breweries. I know Nathan, we have had some talks off air and also via text about some of the companies in the state of Missouri. Nothing against those guys down in Springfield, but need to work on that stuff just a little bit. Maybe the water is different than what you're working with in other parts of the state, but
Probably.
Just saying. Schlafly, Oktoberfest, 2 thumbs up from moi right over here. Yeah. And hey, usually when it comes to things in St. Louis, I'm usually like, ugh. Like, when it comes to baseball, I usually am like gag when it comes to the Cardinals. When it comes to my hockey, as a devoted Avalanche fan, yes, I will be following them when they make their treks into what is it called now? It's
called the Enterprise Center.
There we go. Usually I don't go all in for St. Louis products, but hey. Schlafly Oktoberfest, if you have a chance to get your hands on the last couple bottles, give it a go. I mean, it's Urban Chestnut Urban Chestnut and Casey Beer Company do beat it out, but I would say it is definitely third place in the state of Missouri amongst all the kind of Oktoberfest Marzens that have come out from this great state. That it's really produced some amazing beer and wine. Okay, everyone's probably thinking, okay, boys, turn you off. So, all that being said, we'll be back in a few moments with segment 2, where we talk about news and notes and start looking to Europe and our match against Stuttgart. Stay with.
Yep.
And we're back. Segment 2 of Hey Eintracht Frankfurt. Sometimes you get a little bit more beer talk than you anticipate. Because, hey, folks, what are you usually enjoying while you're watching a game? Hey, sometimes you're having a good old sausage. I got no problem with, frying up some sweet Italian sausage meat that I pick up my grocer, put it on some hoagie bun with some fried potatoes, some fried onions, just gotta kind of work with what you got. Mm-hmm. Oh, like that? Can't be too boring. And what do you wash it down with? You wash it down with a good beer, or sometimes wine if the moment suits you. And we just love Hey Eintracht Frankfurt's segment of What Are We Drinking? So, if you guys are out there watching Eintracht Frankfurt take on Stuttgart or any other future opponent, or just watching a replay at home, shoot us at HEF Pod a picture of you and your beer whilst watching the Eintracht or listening to Hey Eintracht Frankfurt podcast. Love the interaction that we get from the folks. So, things that are going on with Eintracht and the rest of German soccer as well. This midweek, Eintracht Frankfurt had a little bit of a breather in the fact that the DFB Pokal second round, okay, hey, we're champions and we enjoyed it. We just can't repeat as champions. The team who knocked us out for a moment there had Fortuna Dusseldorf on the ropes, and then the 15-minute, and then they found the equalizer, and then goals in the by 4 more goals that would follow. Some decent action that did happen. Wolfsburg defeated Hanover. Oh boy, those guys are really going to have to fight it out. Darmstadt hosted Hertha, and Hertha kicked him right in the pills. St. Louis bred Ibisevic was able to get the first and game-winning goal in that one. So always fun to also see local enemies Mainz go down. They lost in extra time to Augsburg. Pity that Roddinghausen, SV Roddinghausen, this tiny club, was unable to get the... hey, they put a goal back on Bayern Munich. Some teams in the Bundesliga sometimes need to be reminded that Bayern Munich, they are mortal after all. So
yes.
Some interesting other questions that were occurring. One of the teams that's vying for promotion out of the second division is Union Berlin. They lost in added time to Borussia Dortmund. Those guys keep on playing each other. It's kind of weird. Hamburg, after firing yet another coach, was able to pull out a comfortable win there. Schalke needed penalties to beat FC Köln. Nürnberg was able to get a victory, and well, I guess technically it goes down as a draw, despite the fact that they went through on penalties. They went all the way to Rostock on that one. Woof! Talk about a long trek from midweek. Germany's not a small country, everybody, but one of to me, the big shock. It was a Bundesliga only tie. Was Borussia Mönchengladbach 0, Bayer Leverkusen 5. Bayer Leverkusen has now put 11 goals in the net in the last 2 matches. It's a little scary. I'm just kind of glad that we don't have to face those guys for a second. But it's kind of like, the Fools lost at home in this one. And they lost at Freiburg at the weekend. But hey, going south to Freiburg is no easy task at all. It does kind of make you wonder if Mönchengladbach might have peaked, because now they're starting. But hey, things switch so fast, so furiously at this point in the season. Yeah. Things always are changing. So, speaking of change, there's the first change in coaches mid-season was at VfB Stuttgart. They were at the moment bottom of everything. Taifun Korkut, the man who nearly led them back to Europe if we had not won the Pokal, as they leapfrogged us into 7th place. They would have gone into Europe had we not won the Pokal. So interesting how the fates would have aligned at that point. So they fired their coach at nearly a month ago, and so he had the international break to work with the team, and he took the team to play Borussia Dortmund at home. That was a 4-0 loss, and then they placed Hoffenheim at the weekend, right after they played in Europe on the road. Well, it's not that far if you look at the map. Hoffenheim from Stuttgart, really not that far at all. And Hoffenheim just took them out to the woodshed and beat them senseless 4-0 as well, which begs the question. You take that freak win over Werder Bremen away for them. They are in such deep poo, it's not even funny. This team's there for the taking.
Yes. They swapped coaches like nearly a month ago, and they're still having issues. They don't get any new coach rebound out of this.
So far, they got nothing. A lot. Look, they moved a lot. When they kind of did that return when they put in Korkut last season. They just fired past everybody. They earned more points than anyone. From the moment that they hired their coach, they earned more points than any team in the Bundesliga. They made a lot of signings in the off season. Even kept that French defender Pavard, the guy who scored that wonder goal during the World Cup. Sensational blast. They were able to convince him to stick around. They basically did not lose any what you would have thought major pieces. They added on, what they were looking for as depth to give them more firing power, and so far they've fallen flat on their face. I'm really looking at these guys. They're really desperate at this point because it may be early, but, we're 9 matches into the Bundesliga season. They have one victory to show for it. That was a freak win over Bremen at home. Otherwise, they would only have this 3-3 goal fest with Freiburg, and they got a draw at home against Dusseldorf, a team who is fighting it out for who is bottom and who is second from bottom. For lack of better kind of understanding of what could possibly happen. I mean,
killing each other.
This team, I mean, no kidding. I mean, before they fired their coach, they lost to Hanover 3-1 on the road. This team that wowed everybody. I really am looking at this team and finding it very hard to be not biased with Eintracht Frankfurt. In terms of figuring out who's going to come away with the victory in this one. I mean, from an Eintracht Frankfurt standpoint, now, yes, Toro will not be available to play, but, I mean, we have 6 days for this team to recover until we play Apollon Limassol in the Europa League. So, for me, we can send a full-strength team into this one, so. not even blinking an eye on this one. And honestly, I'd prefer it that way so that we would then be able to field possibly our best team in the for the next round of the Bundesliga when we face off against Schalke.
Yeah.
Another team struggling.
Yeah, exactly.
All the teams in this after the international break. It's easier pickings than the first one was.
Well, at this point in time, it's easier than we would have thought it would have been. But yeah, I mean, you got to look at it through the lens of we have a whole week's rest versus a lot of the other folks playing this midweek for the Pokal. Last week, one of the things we didn't mention about the Nuremberg game is that we were totally gassed, and maybe that's the only reason that they tactically got away with what they did. So we're in a good position here to just do our thing. Attack, and hopefully do what Dortmund and Hoffenheim have done. Copy paste, do what they did.
I think that's an easy way to look at it. And in case anyone had not looked at the schedule, this is Eintracht Frankfurt taking on Stuttgart on the Friday match. And some people are like, hey, you guys are recording on Thursday. No, hey, that's how time kind of fits. You can watch the match on Univision Deportes USA. So, go to any good Mexican restaurant in your town and you'll be able to find it. Fox Soccer Plus broadcasting it live on the Fox family of networks. Of course, you can watch it on Sportsnet World Now in Canada. I mean, you have options in Germany that's thrown on Eurosport. You also have, it's here, it's there, it's everywhere. It's one of the matches that's shown the most widely across the entire world, including in the United Kingdom where it's on BT Sport. This, for me, and if we can get to predictions before we get into a little news, before we start our last bit of the podcast covering the Europa League, for me, there's no sense in not going full pelt towards this, and there's no reason to think that under Marcus Weinzel, who, he had some good teams with Augsburg, he's being given time to try and figure things out, but so far it's just been woeful, and I think this team is shot of confidence, and I think we're going to take advantage of it. And if I have to put a prediction down, it's 2-0 to the Eintracht. On the road! Huge away points.
Yeah. And they have a huge stadium, don't they? I mean, relatively speaking, I guess, like 60,000 or something.
Yeah, something small like that. In case anyone's wondering, it's like, well, what stadium are they playing in? It's the Mercedes-Benz Arena. It's about 6,000 seater. It used to be, used, let's see, what was that? During the 2006 World Cup and the 74 World Cup and the 88 European Championship. And it'll be used in the next European Championship that's going to be in Germany. And what is that like? Thinking, oh God, 2024. Golly, kind of lost it on that. And look, it's a big stadium. It's a loud stadium.
Yeah.
It's usually very full. And for this match, let's be honest, Stuttgart is not exactly like too necessarily far away from Frankfurt itself when it comes to, where it's at on a map. And the only thing that I'm worried about is our ultras tussling against each other.
Yeah. I have some concerns about the keepers, but we're gonna field a pretty healthy rested team, so I'm gonna go with I'll probably go with you and go with 2-0, and this will be if Trapp plays. I don't really know what his status is. They kind of waffling with that, but let's hope that he gets his first clean sheet after returning to the team. So yeah, I'll stick with 2-0. I'll go with what you said.
I really like the idea that what Eintracht is going to be able to bring to the party, and I think it's just going to be a lot of firepower and a lot of "oh hello, princess." Sorry, folks. The dog kind of like sniffing around. So, you like that prediction too? Okay.
She's giving her stamp of approval.
Yeah, she's giving her stamp of approval. Though, as long as you stay away from my beer, I got a beer. Beer lovers all around in Kansas City here. Needless to say. That being said, so let's move on to kind of news and notes that's being kind of circling around in the Eintracht Frankfurt world. So a lot of ultras are looking to travel to Rome for the third and final road match for the Eintracht in Europe. As we kind of didn't get to do it for Marseille. That sucked. Just saying. So we go to Nicosia in Cyprus to play Apollon Limassol because they're playing in the national stadium for that. So there's been all sorts of talk about then going down to Rome, bringing 15, 20,000 people, and now they're saying, look, we're giving you 10,000 tickets. Do not come down if you do not have a ticket. Look, it's understandable. The Lazio Ultras themselves are a feisty bunch, and there's few that are as feisty as them throughout all of Europe outside of Germany.
Yeah. They're pretty well known for their ultras and how they stack up.
Look, it's a city of two major teams, and it's not been unheard of for one team playing in Europe. Say Roma is hosting whomever in the Champions League, and guess what? Some guy is getting knifed, and they're saying, "Oh, they were the guys were claiming that they were Rome fans," whereas it's kind of too easy to point out that hey, probably not. And then it's also Lazio on the other side of the coin. Completely on the other side of the coin as well.
Has a nickname in the Italian among Italian teams. I won't say here, but it rhymes with something.
Yeah, we'll try not to get too down and dirty in that.
No, I think we have. Frankfurt has been allotted 5,800 tickets for this match, and they're expecting around or more of 10,000 people. So,
exact figures. And the thing is, look, they could fill as much as an entire end of that stadium in Rome. And I'm sure that they honestly would. Look, anyone who does not understand how much we're going to travel, just watch YouTube videos of Eintracht Frankfurt versus Bordeaux in Bordeaux, France. And look at how many fans showed up for that. Look, they want to do it. it was an absolutely amazing atmosphere. But, all that being said, Eintracht is now going to be playing in Europe once again. So we're facing up against Limassol. At this point, look, the table sits as thus. 3 matches played. Eintracht on 9 points with 3 wins. Lazio in second place with 6 points from 2 wins and 1 loss to the Eintracht, of which those Lazio fans have not really recovered. We had one as a guest on the Hey Eintracht for just a couple weeks ago when we were previewing that match, and he was a good old soul. Their podcast was a little, in the immediate aftermath, was one that was very, well, down, more than just a little down, if I'm going to be totally honest. Anyways, so then we have Marseille and Limassol, who win during match day 2. Those guys played out to a draw. So, hey, we're in a really great spot. All we have to do is go to Cyprus on November the 8th and kick some ass. Mm-hmm. Is that too much to ask? Is that too much to ask? I mean, look, we had them by the throat, and we're the fat kid sitting on the skinny little kid that they're beating up on, and you're just sitting there just like, this is not really much of a contest here. Not really much of a contest. And look, we could have just like put the foot on their throat and just really gone to town on those guys. Just really kicked them while they were down. We didn't. I felt a little weird that, we didn't, but what are you going to do? I mean...
All we need is the victory.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. In case anyone's kind of curious, hey, how am I going to be able to stream it? So like we said before, Turner Sports owns the rights to the Europa League in the United States of America. Other places who own it, DAZN, that's kind of a streaming service. Those guys have got access pretty much in a lot of countries in Europe and Asia, and so that's BT Sport Extra will be shown in the United Kingdom. A lot of variations on that, but in the United States, to get yourself really squared away with being able to watch the match, Bleacher Report Live, the BR Live app is a good spot where you can get that. You can, what was it, $3 for the match. All you have to do is buy the match. Then you get it on your account, and you can rewatch it at any given time. You don't have to pay the entire, year sum, for the price of Eintracht playing every match, including the final. You would actually pay less than no cost for the entire season thing. So,
pretty nice.
All that being said, it's seems functional, let's be honest, but at the end of the evening, it is still not living up to me as much as Fox Sports, but I
have my own gripes with Fox Sports, but
yeah, no kidding. Well, all that being said, some of the other kind of news and notes have been going around, like we said, Lucas Torres still out. With him and, making his recovery. I mean, not really a recovery. It's an emotional recovery for him. I mean, when you have your, brother die in the kind of horrible circumstances, it can sometimes, he made an appearance, but, was he there mentally and emotionally? You just kind of never know. And look, not trying to say that some people are different. Everyone deals with grief differently, and just you gotta let the guy kind of figure things out on his own. And hey, look, with his signing to the Eintracht, what if I would hate to say it, but what if he really just can't get over it and feels he needs to head back to Spain? When it comes to something like this, you gotta let the human being kind of do their own thing. And
I think the last time he played, and I can't remember, was it against Dusseldorf? It might have been Dusseldorf that he played, and he seemed to be like a man on fire. Like he was like kicking like through the ball and 100 miles an hour. It was insane. I think he hit the post twice in that game. I thought it was Dusseldorf. I could be wrong there. I think it was
about right.
I think it was Dusseldorf. But yeah, after that game, it said he had some sort of some problem with some. What I'm reading here is pubic bone, but I don't know how that keeps coming up. But,
yeah. I'm not gonna try and look too deeply into that one.
I don't know if that's grief. It could be. But hopefully he comes back soon.
I would like to see him back soon because look, he has provided us with some good moments so far, and hey, we had no idea what this kind of player was going to be capable of. But the thing was, we were able to pick him up from Osasuna in Spain, especially, with that club, languishing in the second division. They were thinking, oh, yeah, no big deal. Yeah, you play for us, and we'll have an immediate return back to the top division, La Liga. And that kind of has been anything but. So, this is a team that, fun fact, is actually in Pamplona, but, hey, maybe he wanted to run away from the Bulls as well. All that being said, so prediction time. I think for this one, is going to be a really more rear guard effort. I think that more than a couple players will be left at home from the attack, and I think Eintracht is going to pull out a 1-0 victory in this. This will mean that Eintracht has 12 points from their 4 European matches. That is going to be enough for us to start planning for the knockout phase in Europe. So if we were looking to bring in a player in, say, the winter to strengthen in one area or the other, we'd at least know, hey, we're getting some more money coming our ways for playing in Europe in the knockout phase. Well, guess what? We can now plan for it and get him integrated now so that, in case it takes a little bit of betting in time, we'll be good to go. And we're in a great place in the league, and why not give it a go? The last time that a team that played in this competition when it was under this name, the last team that got, deep in the competition was HSV in the first season of the Europa League. When it was after it had been rebranded from the UEFA Cup, they made the semifinals. Granted, the final was being hosted in Hamburg, so they had a lot kind of impetus to get them there. A lot of Bundesliga clubs keep on getting into the quarterfinals, which is where a lot of money starts really kicking in. We're not talking like Champions League money, because you get in knockout phase there, well, shoot. Yeah. You're sitting pretty, and you're able to make some big money signings. But
yes,
Eintracht making a deep run in the knockout phase in this competition will allow them to keep players like Aller, despite, interest from abroad. We'll be able to keep him and Rebic, together, and quite possibly make another foray into Europe. And the team is able to use the money gained from there to, not just shore up the players who are there, bring in some additional top-end talent that we don't usually get to be able to bring in because of our consistent good finishes in the Bundesliga and that European money that just goes that little bit further, because our fans are crazy, our fans are passionate, and let's just see them in the knockout phase. That would be amazing. I can't wait to see what kind of tifo display that they put out for the Marseille game.
Exactly.
Just saying. So, that all being said, Nathan, where can we find you in the social media landscape?
You can find me on Twitter at NAJAKWA.
You can follow me, Brian Sanders, at KCSGE. You can follow the show, that is at HEFPod. Facebook.com/HEFPod is where you can like us on Facebook. Go there for all sorts of English news about the Eintracht, including new episode drops and more competitions to win more Eintracht Frankfurt swag, because why not?
Why the heck not?
That all being said, you can also email the show at heyeintrachtfrankfurt.com. Anyone who's actually attending a match, and watching the Eintracht, say you're going out to watch going out to the Mercedes-Benz Arena in Stuttgart to watch Eintracht Frankfurt versus Stuttgart. Let us know your experience, what you thought of Eintracht away, and shoot us an email there, and we'll be able to read it out on the show. Well, that all being said, looking at the Bundesliga, got Stuttgart right up. You can follow that at Fox Soccer Plus in the United States and all sorts of other platforms all over the place. Just tweet us, and we'll be able to send you at least a heads up as to what channel will be hosting that in your country. So, that all being said, thanks for listening to the podcast, and congratulations to our winner to the
congrats, Mark,
to the drawing. And until next time, cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, Eintracht Frankfurt, scha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Hey, Eintracht Frankfurt, scha-la-la-la-la-la-la.